It's 7:21 Friday morning, chilly 41 degrees and clear skies as I head out for Palouse Falls and eastern Washington. But yesterday, to prepare for this trip, I stopped at the post office to mail some stuff, got a real change newspaper, Seattle's homeless paper, there from Bill, the regular guy, before dropping my car off to Jack for an oil change. So while I was waiting for that, I walked up to Cafe Kefa and got an Americano from Almez. And so this morning, I got an Americano from Kim at Walters and hit the road for Palouse Falls. So I pretty much take I-90 east over Snoqualmie Pass, through Vantage to Ritzville, and head south to Washington. This is the museum at Vantage, not open right now, but they have a great selection of petroglyphs mounted outside, so you can always see them, from the Wanapum Indians who once roamed, hunted, and fished in this area. The Wanapum Indian Yoyauni died of hypothermia around here while hunting elk with his cousin Pakhayatut when a bitter winter storm engulfed them. He was the son of Smohala, the last leader of the Wanapum Indians who lived along the river south of Vantage. Smohala was the originator of the last dreamer religion that swept the tribes prior to the destruction by the coming of the white homesteaders. They fished for salmon on the greatest wild stretches of the Columbia River, Solilo Falls and Priest Rapids. So just a little ways past Vantage, you can turn off and drive down into what's called the Feathers, a favorite place for rock climbing practice. Did a sketch at Vantage of the hills there, and then here's Kim again, a drawing of some rolling hills in the Palouse, and then another drawing at Vantage looking across the river. And now we're getting to Palouse Falls, the destination of this trip. This area is called the Scablands, and that's because around 13,000 years ago, an enormous flood came through here and carved this area out. It was at the end of the last ice age, and a giant ice dam had formed around Missoula, Montana, backing up the glacial melt for years and years, forming a lake the size of one of the Great Lakes, and at one point it burst, and an enormous flood of water came through here and carved out all of the Scabland area, creating the great coulees and canyons and waterfalls and all these things. And there was a man who had a theory that this was created by a flood, but it was never taken seriously until aerial photography came along and proved that these giant piles of gravel were actually moraines left from the flood. So we now know it as the Scabland area, the Scabland flood or the Spokane flood. And what's equally interesting is that as soon as you get outside of the Scabland area, you're back in the Palouse, which is some of the richest farming land in the world. Hundreds of feet thick of topsoil, rolling hills with not a stone in sight. So the last stop on this trip was to a little cafe in the town of St. John for a veggie burger from Sherry and her daughter Alyssa.